Hello everyone, today I will be reviewing Lawrence of Arabia. So Lawrence of Arabia was directed by David Lean and stars Peter O'Toole, Omar, Sharif, Alec, Guinness and Jack Hawkins. And Peter O'Toole plays T.E. Lawrence, who is a real person. He was a British Army officer and he gets involved in the fight between the Arabs and the Turks, and he essentially helps the Arabs fight against the Turks. And this film was set during World War One. Now this has got to be one of those really epic films that is very iconic, it's very well known, and it did very well. I mean, it won 7 Oscars, including the Best Picture, and I really love it. I think it's a fantastic film. It really is very good. It's a very long film. It was actually longer than I thought, to be honest, because I have seen this a few times before, but when I watched it yesterday, I didn't realise it was actually 3 hours 48 minutes long, which is, obviously nearly 4 hours. And originally, I think I thought it was about 3.5 hours long, but I do believe there are different versions of it. So there are some versions which are longer, there are some versions which have got bits cut out of it. So I don't know, it's a bit confusing, but anyway, nevertheless, it's a long film, but it is well worth the watch. And one of the things I have to talk about in this film is the music. The music is really one of my favourite things about it. It is superb. The score is by Maurice Jarre, and it's one of those film scores that I can sit over and over again and not get bored of it. And actually, as I'm saying this, the score is stuck in my head right now because it is so brilliant and I love it, and I'm not even annoyed by it because it's so brilliant. And it really makes you think of the film, the score. It really goes so well with it. It really goes well with the desert scenes when the characters are on the camels through the desert. And a lot of this film is set in the desert. Probably most of it is, aside from a few scenes which are in Cairo, which is more of a city area. And a lot of the time when they're in the desert, they're just on camels, and it might not sound like a lot is happening, but it keeps you watching. It is all very well done. And, this isn't the most action-packed film. That there are a few scenes where they do attacks on Aqaba and Damascus, which are very good, but a lot of the film is just set in the desert where the characters are on camels, and there's not necessarily that much dialogue, but in a way, that's no bad thing, because this is not one of those films where the plot is very complicated and difficult to understand, and you have to think all the time about what's going on, because everything important is happening right in front of you, and every little thing that the characters say in this film is important. So although the film is, nearly 4 hours long, really, I think everything from the version I saw was important to the plot. I would not know what bits to cut out. Now, Peter O'Toole, he is very good in this film, and I think this was actually one of his first major film roles, because at the start of the film you actually see with the credits where it says everybody's name, where it said this person plays them, this plays whoever, it says, and introducing Peter O'Toole as T.E. Lawrence. Now, for this to be someone's first film is not really a bad start to their career, in my opinion. I mean, he's very good in this role, and the film really focuses on his character, because T. Lawrence was a British Army officer, so he's obviously going to be, he's going to be loyal to the British Army, obviously, because he's British and he's now working for the British Army. But when he travels to Arabia and he's with the Arabs fighting against the Turks, you see his character become more loyal to the Arabs and less sympathetic to the British. And there's a few scenes in this film where you can almost see by his facial expressions and his mind working, he's trying to make a decision about what to do. And he sees the way of life of the Arabs and their struggle, and his opinions change. He thinks one thing a minute, and then he's with the Arabs and he thinks, actually, no, we need to do this. Now, you need to watch the film to understand what I mean. I don't really want to spoil it too much, but his character is a very interesting one of the most interesting characters in cinema, I believe. And obviously T. Lawrence was a real person, so I talk about him as a character. He's obviously a real historical person as well. One of my favourite scenes in this film is when the character of Sharif Ali is introduced. Now, Sharif Ali is played by Omar Sharif, and Omar Sharif is a fantastic actor in this film. He really is probably one of my favourite characters in the film. But when his character is introduced, you see him from really far away. Now, bear in mind we're in the desert, and deserts are big, and this film really does a good job of showing you how huge that desert is that they're in. So T.E. Lawrence is at a well having a drink, and you see Sharif Ali's character come from really far away, and when you first see him, he is this tiny speck on the horizon, and you're thinking, you're watching it, you're thinking, hang on, is that a man on his horse, or is it something else? And it seems to take ages for him to actually come towards where T.E. Lawrence is, and that whole scene is perfectly done. It really does justice and shows you the scope of the desert and the scope of the film as a whole. Now, really, I enjoyed this film so much, I'm going to give it a rating of 10 out of 10 because it's one of my favourite films of all time. I probably, if I did a top 10 list of my favourite films, I think it would be on there. So, yeah, 10 out of 10 for Lawrence of Arabia. Fantastic film. So, Lawrence of Arabia. So there we go, guys. What do you think? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.